Jeremy, round number two.
Round two.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks so much for coming on again. Let's talk some PayPal. I mean, the stock dropped on earnings. What are you thinking? Are you still buying this stock right now?
I am actively buying PayPal, yes, and I'm sure we'll get into the nitty-gritty numbers and all
Mhm.
that fun stuff and everything in detail. But yeah, literally, pretty much every single week for the remainder of this year, I will be buying PayPal stock.
Love
That
it.
could even roll into 2024. But yeah, pretty much on a week in out basis, it is like in every week buy for me at this point in time. So in terms of, and I know we'll get into the nitty gritty of the numbers. The earnings, I was happy with the earnings. I don't think they were shocking earnings in terms of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. It wasn't that type of earnings period. I thought they were
Right.
very solid numbers. Really liked the guide and everything in terms of the company's long-term vision and what's going on there is right on trajectory, in my opinion. And therefore, with the valuation being where it's at, where I'm sure we'll talk about that, it is still a buy for me. Absolutely, and pretty much every week.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had a very similar feeling. Like even whenever I was looking at it, and people kind of got a little discouraged because the stock is down, which can just be some reasons for some people to just sell, right? Sorry,
Yeah,
just changed my camera there.
yeah,
But that being said, like PayPal is a stronger company today than it was last quarter.
sure.
Like you know what I mean? In my opinion, it was a good quarter, and I found that there was only really one discouraging part, and that was transactional margins. How much
Yeah,
they're making on a per transaction basis has gone down,
yeah,
and probably more than people had expected. I expected it to go down by like 0.2%. I think it was like 1.2%. So it was quite a large jump. But I'm curious how you think about that single statistic versus the overall company in general.
So I actually don't care about it nearly as much as many other folks care about it, and
Okay.
so actually I'm more interested to hear, why you put an emphasis on that if you do, and kind of why you care so much about that metric. Because when I look at the company at the end of the day, I want to look at revenues, I want to look at gross margins, I want to look at that bottom line, what's going on with EPS, what's going on with the net income, and to get into that level of detail, usually for me is just kind of like it's one of those metrics, kind of like active user numbers, because the active user number, I think, is the other kind of like negative that's going on with PayPal. Is like we are at 435. I think this past quarter we are 431 in
Yeah.
terms of active users. And my thoughts on that is, PayPal could easily grow more users if they want by incentivizing people different ways, right? Download the app or connect an account, you get free money, stuff like that. Like financial institutions do this all the time. Share this with somebody, like that type of stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm just thinking about, well, how much are they making per user? Are they very profitable on a per user basis? But I love to hear your 2 cents on that whole subject.
Uh, okay. So from what I heard from management, they during COVID had given a ton of incentives to management to try to just get as many members as possible without thinking about who they were trying to download this app. And so they went up to 435 million, I think, at its highest. But now, whenever PayPal is starting to look at their numbers, now they're only just telling people, okay, we have 400 million members. That's about 30 something million off of from where they are. I don't actually care about the total active consumer count. I honestly think like another 20, 30 million is going to drop off because they had acquired those customers and they never really did bring in any transactions at all. They
Yeah.
from what I heard on the call, 30% of their overall user base brings in 80+% of their revenue. Okay. That's the core group we have to focus on. We have to focus on the 200 million monthly active users. Everything after that, these people use it once in a blue moon. And the idea that they churn is not really important to me,
Yep.
you know?
I love that. What about on the transaction margin front and your thoughts on that?
So, uh, partially why I'm a little bit scared about that is because they said that it would be improving. They kind of pushed the ball down the line where they kind of said, it will be improving in 2023. First two quarters hasn't sort of done that, and they said, well, it's going to be improving by Q4 into Q1. You know, here's the thing: is the difference in transaction costs between Venmo and core PayPal, like the branded checkout, is so much larger than a lot of people give it credit for. Like, there's a reason why Amazon, a stock that you pay attention to a lot, offers Venmo as a payment option and not PayPal. Okay. There's the transaction take on Venmo is about 1.9% plus 10 cents. If you know Stripes or Braintrees or Adyens, they're 2.9% plus 30 cents. Take it one step above that, PayPal, like core branded checkout, 3.49 plus 49 cents. Like, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but whenever you're dealing in constant transactions, billions and billions of dollars, if not trillions, right? It
Yep.
does actually add up. And it's seeming as if PayPal is growing much stronger on the Braintree and Venmo side. Like, clearly, this is
Yeah.
not something we have to guess at. But that just means that their overall take rate is going to go down.
Yep. So, it's interesting. So we just talked about the two boogeymen that are in the room. Are there any other boogeymen out there? One is active users, and that's not growing right now. The other is transaction margin. Is there anything else that happened in the earnings that's going on with PayPal that's a boogeyman out there, or are those really the only two things?
So, I mean, this earnings, maybe not. Overall, where's the next CEO? Like,
Mhm.
like, Dan Schulman sounds exhausted. He sounds tired. Like, I don't think yeah, I don't think his heart is set in it anymore. I want to know who the next CEO is, and that can make a massive difference in any company. I believe leadership might be one of the strongest, um, sort of metrics that you can look at, if you want to call that a metric.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I'm very interested in seeing that. However, yeah, who knows?
So
Who knows?
my personal opinion is I believe the real reason why the stock is down, went down after earnings, actually had nothing to do with the numbers, whether it be active users or anything like that. I actually believe it's because they still didn't announce a new CEO, and I
Mm,
believe this was Wall Street's way of sending a signal. Like, did you not get our memo after the last time you guys reported earnings? Like, announce a freaking CEO already. Like, don't keep dragging this out and dragging it along. And I believe it's kind
yeah,
of similar to what happened to Meta back in Q4 2022 when that stock just got hammered all the way down to $88 a share, where they were sending Zuckerberg a clear message like, dude, you better get these costs in line. We're not going to accept this. I feel like it's a very similar phenomenon that's kind of going on with PayPal. It's just like, why you guys are still like, why hasn't this decision been made? It's already August now at this point in time. Like, let's get this done, man. And so
yeah,
I'm sure the board of directors has to go through a lot of candidates. They probably have a phenomenal amount of high quality folks to pick from, and they want to pick the right one. It's a very important company that's going to continue to be a much more important company over the next 10 years. And it's very important they get it right. Uh, and I'm sure we'll come back to earnings, but I just wanted your quick thoughts on obviously seeing the move they made in the crypto space, launching their own, kind of like what we call it, like a USD type competitor in terms of
yeah.
a
There's
USD coin.
stablecoin.
Yeah. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
like, I mean, it depends on what the R&D cost was to create this product, right? I did a call about this, and I said, if this is anything like Coinbase's NFT, or their marketplace, putting out a new marketplace, putting out a new product isn't too much of a deal if you didn't put like a boatload of money into it. Coinbase, I think
Mhm,
at the time they made this NFT marketplace, and it cost them like $500 million. And they were expecting some of the largest amount of signups that any crypto company has ever seen. And they really saw like the most abysmal outcome because they took too long to put out this product, and no one was quite interested in the NFTs by the time it actually launched. It was a complete failure. Are stable coins the hottest product right now? No. Uh, has PayPal probably been working on this for the last 12 months and are slow to move on this? I mean, that's my expectation. However, this could be big, and I don't think there's a downside to offering more products from PayPal side. They're the most trusted brand maybe on the planet, especially whenever it comes to payments. a lot of people, especially looking at other stable coins, I don't know if you're familiar with the space, like with Terra Luna or with Tether or any of those. People don't have trust in those products at all. Like there's
No.
extremely sketchy accounting with Tether. Terra Luna completely went bust. Like it was a actual Ponzi scheme. So having a company like PayPal with that true trust, transparent accounting, it could be a good reason for people to actually go back to using stablecoins again. I was actually a
Yeah.
user. I had an editor, right?
Mhm.
And he lived in Morocco
Okay.
for my YouTube videos. How
Yeah.
do you pay him? How do you pay him?
PayPal.
So yeah, like so I had a fan recently. He said he wanted to send me a donation through PayPal. PayPal wanted to take 55%.
What?
55% for him to send me $20, it was going to cost him $33 or something like this.
What? That's
Yeah, like a
wow.
crazy amount. A
Oh my
crazy
god.
amount. Because he was from Vietnam, he was using a debit card, all these sorts of things. So, uh a cheaper way would be a stable coin. You know, if you're sending
Mm,
someone the equivalent of a US dollar, which is what I was doing with my editor, I'd send him his payment and it would cost me like a penny to make that transaction.
wow. That's
Western
fascinating.
Union, none of these companies would have done that to someone that's in Morocco. None of them.
Yeah.